Hey y'all, welcome back to Leslie's Mature Makeup and Beauty. As you can see from the title, today we're going to do another full face of, and we're going to do L'Oreal. A lot of these products are going to be new to me, and it'll be the first time I'm trying them, but there are a couple of things that I've had in my collection for a little bit that I know I like and love, but we'll talk about all that as we get to it. I'm going to start with concealer to use as an eye primer. They didn't have a eye primer. It looks like they had one, but it's been discontinued. You could still get it in some places, but I didn't want to try something and love it and then never be able to get it again. So I'm going to start. This is the Age Perfect Radiant Concealer Corrector, and I think I have, number 200 Ivory. And I'm going to use this under the eyes as well. I feel like I may have tried this at one time, but I had the wrong shade, so of course I didn't like it because it was too dark. So we'll see how this wears. And I do have a face primer as well that we'll put on next. And they have one in a little jar that I've heard really good things about. But it's my understanding that that one is being discontinued as well. So I didn't want to, again, use something that you're not going to be able to get soon. And this is one of the new brushes from BK Beauty and Angie Hot and Flashy. It's the A506. It's the concealer brush. I'm going to be trying those brushes out today too. And when I link everything, I'm going to link it to where I purchased it, which was Walgreens. But a lot of times Walgreens is more expensive for cosmetics than what you would pay for it like at Walmart, but they had some really good coupons. My total before all my coupons and the discount was $93.90, and after my coupons, and they had a Glam 20 code that you could use for purchases over $40, it brought my total down to like $43, so I was super pumped about that. And the primer that I have is the L'Oreal Age Perfect Blurring Face Primer. It's infused with carrying serum, whatever that may be. And this is just the color 00 Rosy. We'll put all of this stuff on so it can be sitting down and sinking in. It's kind of a thicker consistency, and it does have a little bit of a pink color to it. And I've never used this primer before, so we'll see what she does. But I don't know that anything could compare to and I'm mostly going to concentrate this primer in those areas where I have the worst texture. My nose, my cheeks. It does look like it's given a little bit of blurring. But since I discovered that Maybelline blur stick, I don't know that anything is gonna compare. This does have kind of that silicone-y type feel. I don't notice any fragrance with it. And I'm going to take my sponge and dab over my eyes where I put that concealer on, because it looks like I may have gotten a little heavy-handed. It looks like it's trying to crease. Which that's one of the reasons I prefer an actual eye primer instead of a concealer. Just because concealer can crease on my lids since I do have hooded eyes. L'Oreal doesn't have a ton of eyeshadow palettes. They had one it reminded me kind of the style of the Urban Decay Naked, like a longer, but it was just a nude palette, and I have several, neutral nude palettes. So I picked up this Paradise Enchanted Peach Scented Eyeshadow, and then I picked up this little quad, but it's, I don't know, I was feeling this one today. I know it's fall, and this isn't very fallish, But I thought, you know, there's some pinks in here. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We'll go with the pinks. And there are, it does have a little bit of a artificial peach scent, but it's not terrible. I don't mind fragrance in my products. I don't find it normally irritates my face or my skin. I don't really have sensitive skin. But it looks like there's 5 mattes, and then it looks like maybe a matte with a little shimmer and 5 shimmers. Looks like a couple of mattes with shimmer. But I think to set down that concealer, I'm just going to go with this lighter nude looking shade at the top here. And I'm going to go in with the A501, which is just kind of a fluffy, I think she described it as a lid shader. Always trying to look at a mirror that doesn't exist. But I'm going to use this shadow just all over my lid to kind of set down that little powder kick up. Kind of help set down that concealer and give us a nice smooth base. If you want a mascara, they got 50,000 mascaras. This brush is really nice. And this brush set is a little spendy, but it was specifically designed for more mature and hooded eyes. And I kind of look at my makeup tools. I mean, I do have like some Real Techniques brushes that I love, but you can't buy those individually. Which this right now only comes as a set. They will eventually offer these brushes individually if there's one that you have got your eye on. But I looked at my brush collection, and I have quite a few eye and face brushes, and these did not duplicate anything in my brush stash. I'm obviously not going to be able to talk today. Y'all just have to look over me. Hopefully next week we're actually going to get some fall weather. It's still going to be 85 degrees today, so I'm not feeling very fallish yet. And this, I'm going to use the A502, and I'm just going to show you this little Real Techniques brush is one that I like to use in my crease, and you can see the difference in the size. This one's smaller, and it's got a little bit more of a domed tip to it. So I think that's really going to help me get in, you know, get into this crease area a little better. I think we're going to go in with this. It looks brown, but it's almost got a little bit of a pinky or peachy shift to it. Going to tap my brush off good because there's a good bit of powder kick up in the pan. It's really nicely pigmented, and this brush is fabulous. But I think what I was going to say a while ago before I got distracted was that I kind of look at brushes and tools for makeup as an investment. It's kind of like if you're a mechanic and you buy tools from the Dollar General, they're not going to last very long. And if you take care of your brushes, you know, clean them regularly, and they're going to last a long time. And these were my first brushes from BK Beauty. But so far I have enjoyed them. They're very, very nice. Very nice quality. Shipping was super fast. On the day that I placed my order, I ordered them at like 10-ish in the morning, and by that afternoon they had already shipped. And Angie Hot and Flashy does a lot of, you know, makeup geared towards more mature women. She's actually the channel that I got a lot of my skincare recommendations from. And then Lisa J, she has a channel here on YouTube as well, and she was a MAC trainer, and she's a makeup artist, and then she owns BK Beauty. This is a really nice brush, and these shadows are going on super easy, super smooth, super easy to blend. I like that. I'm going to take the A503 and just kind of, this is a bigger fluffy blending brush, and just kind of soften all of that out a little bit. These feel super soft, super soft. And next I'm going to go in with the 504. And these brushes, the way that she numbered them in the order that she would use them. So this one is, it's the A504. It's a detailer, and you can see how tiny it is, even compared to the first brush that I went into to my crease. It's kind of got that dome shape to it, but it's a little bit smaller, so I think this will be good for that outer corner work. Because if I'm not careful, if I get too much out in that outer corner, it's hard to work with. With this deepest shade in the palette, it looks like it still has kind of that rosy undertone. And I'm just going to take the tiniest bit on the tip of this brush and place that right in the outer corner. And I'm just starting out with a super tiny amount, because we can always build it up. Once it's there, it's hard to take away. This is not coming off quite as deep as it looks in the pan, but it's still a pretty shade. It's kind of a rosy, like I said, like a rosy brown. We'll do the same thing over on this eye. I'm really liking this brush. It's perfect for this more precise placement of your shadow. And I think we may do a little bit of like maybe a spotlight eye. So I'm going to take a little bit of this right in this inner corner and leave that center part of my eyelid open. Which with my hooded eyes, I don't do that often, just because you can't really. It's hard to see all that work that I put in. And then I'm going to take just the tip of this brush right through the crease, but skipping over that center section just to kind of connect those two. Man, this is really great for that tiny, those small spaces. A505, which is supposed to be a shimmer brush. It's supposed to apply shimmers more like your finger would. So I'm going to take this shimmer up here in this upper corner and put on the center of that eyelid. And I'm hoping this works well for shimmers because I have bigger hands. So sometimes I can make a mess with my shimmer, applying that with my fingers. I'm just going to take a little of this. It looks like it's picking it up well. Y'all probably can't see that, but it looks like it's really picked up the shimmer. And I'm just going to pat it on here. Just like I would, just like I would if I was using my finger. That does seem to be picking that shimmer up really nice. These shadows are working well so far. I'm really impressed with this eyeshadow palette. And when I link everything, I'm going to link it all to where I purchased it. I actually picked this palette up at Walmart. So that's where I will link it. But everything else will probably be, other than the products that I've picked up in the past from Walmart, I will link everything to Walgreens. But like I said, just check your prices. Let's do a little bit more of that. Oh, you know what we should have done? I should have used the finger on one side and the brush on the other to really see that little detail brush that we placed that deeper color with, and just kind of blend those edges inward. These shadows are performing beautifully. Lightest shade up here in the top, and just do a little bit under my brow bone, just to lighten that up a little bit, because I did take those shadows just a little higher than what I normally do. And this looks like it may have just a touch of shimmer in it, but not a ton. I'm liking that so far. All right, we're going to leave the eyes there for now, and we're going to move on to our complexion. And then we'll finish up under the eyes, and then we'll do some mascara. So for foundation, I picked up their newer one, the True Match Nude with hyaluronic acid. And somehow I picked up the shade 4 to 5 medium, which I'm hoping will not be too dark. I think this comes in 10 shades. Now this is a little bit spendy for a drugstore complexion product. I think it retails for $19.99, $20, but they had a $8 off coupon when I purchased everything. And they recommend applying this with your fingers, so that's what we're going to do. They actually say to drip it right on your face, but I'm not doing that. I'm going to put it on the back of my hand and then apply it to my face. And I've watched some other folks use this, and their only complaint, which I agree, it's got a dropper, so when you go to put your dropper back in, you end up getting foundation all over the edge there. But so I'm just going to take a couple of drops, or a drop, on the back of my hand. You can see it's pretty liquidy, but it looks like, based on other reviews that I've watched, that once you warm this up, it applies better. So yeah, we may be a little deep, but this, like I said, only comes in 10 shades. It's supposed to, one shade is supposed to work with a variety of skin tones. So I don't know, it may not be too bad. It's kind of hard to pick online, but I don't know why I would have picked 4 to 5. I feel like that may have been, I may have fat fingered it. And since this is supposed to be a more radiant foundation, I did use my Australia Gold sunscreen because it's more matte than my Elta MD. If I'm using a matte foundation, I always use my Elta MD, as it has a more luminous finish. It seems to dry down pretty quick. And I feel like too, when I apply foundation with my fingers, which used to be the only way I did it, I feel like if you put a primer underneath, it can I would think it could potentially disturb your primer. But I think so far the finish is pretty. Well, hopefully my concealer is not too light with this foundation. I didn't notice a lot of fallout on my face from the shadows. Maybe just a little bit from the shimmer, but not a ton. So we'll conceal under the eyes, and I am going to use the A506, which is the concealer brush. And it is modeled after the 101. I went ahead and picked up that one as well. You can see it's just a smaller version of the 101. I wanted to use this today, but since that foundation recommended applying with the hands, that's go from there. And this concealer brush, I did use it the other day, and it does get up into this cavern well. You know, it's small enough to really get in there good. Not a ton of coverage. Ooh, that looks kind of crazy bright on camera, but it's not quite as bad in real life. I mean, it's a little bright. I might have went just a little too light. On initial application, this kind of reminds me of the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. And I am going to take my camo concealer sponge and just really press that in and make sure if there's any excess product, I've picked it up. And make sure those edges are blended well where it meets my I think I'm a little dark on the foundation and a little light on the concealer. We'll make it work though. So let's go ahead, now that we've got our concealer on, and finish up the eyes. And I'm just going to take the little 504 that we used for our outer corner, the little smaller detail brush. And I'm going to take the more mid-tone shade that we put in our crease and just run under that lower lash line. Because it does kind of have that little bit of a pointed tip, so I think it hopefully will work okay for that. A little dab of this on this inner portion, and we'll do a little shimmer in the center to kind of match what we did on the upper. And I'm going to use the same shimmer brush. I'm just going to clean it off good. And I'm just going to take the shimmer just on the tip of this brush to try to keep it and just kind of pat. Just to kind of mimic what we done up top. Alright, so far so good, I think. I'm really liking the way this eyeshadow performed. Now we'll do I've got a little eyeliner here. I think we're just going to go with, I have the L'Oreal liner and I have the color Brown Denim. I'm probably going to have to lean out of frame just because I have to get super close to the mirror to be able to see this, but I'm just going to tuck this super close to the lash line. And what I did, I just got that, like I said, I tried to tuck that close to those lashes, and then I did do the line just a little thicker on the outside edge there. Then I'm going to clean off the A501 and just kind of soften the edges here. All right. Now we'll do some brows. This actually looks like it's new. It is the Brow Stylist Frame and Set. It is a brow pomade and comes with a little brush. I picked up the shade Light Brunette. But since it said frame and set, I thought we would. It's supposed to be waterproof up to 24 hours. But I thought we would give this a try. You know, I don't always do a ton with my brows, depending on kind of where they are. Should I open this before I started? This is difficult. Yeah, it's just a medium brown. And I am going to brush my brows up to start with. And it comes this little spoolie, and then it's got a little angled, you know, you could use this for brows or eyeliner. Just kind of brushing them up where I want them, and then it might help me if this mirror was clean. And then we'll just fill in, because I do have some kind of sparse areas. And we'll fill those in. So I'm just going to dip my little brush in here, and I'm going to wipe it off on the edge and light. And we can build it up, you know, if we need to. Just going to try to do some little hair-like strokes here. I think the color is a pretty good match. It's not coming off too warm. It doesn't feel like it's drying down super fast, so we'll see. And speaking of brows, I got a really nice, it's like a little 8-piece brow sampler that when I placed my last Ulta order. And it even came with a little mini grande brow. I think that did pretty good. So I may give that a try and see if that will help fill in some of these more sparse areas. It's supposed to be a 6-week supply. And I haven't used it yet, but I was thinking about giving it a go. And if that's something you are interested in, because I know that's a more expensive product, and that's why I've never purchased it. Just because it is expensive, and I would hate to spend that money and it not work. Fluffier brows. And if I could get, you know, get it to grow in these inner sections a little better. I feel like that's pretty good. Now that does take a lot more time than just my little fiber brow gel, which is, I think, probably, you know, for every day. my preference. And it doesn't really feel like it's setting down, so we'll see. But this little angle brush is nice, and you can actually get those little hair-like strokes. We'll see how it holds up. And I don't know if I'll be able to come back for a check-in today, but if I can't, the L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara. It looks like a boar bristle brush that's curved. And of course, I'm going to use my Voluminous Lash Primer. I love this. You know, this has been my go-to since I discovered it, my go-to lash primer. And it's been a while since I tried a L'Oreal mascara. But that's what the brush looks like. It's just a curved, pretty fat. It looks like it should catch every lash, hopefully. And that's what we're looking like with one coat. Of course, this eye's just got the primer on it, so it looks kind of crazy. Go over to the other eye. And there we've got 2 coats versus 1. We've got 2 over here and just the 1 there. It looks like after I just a little bit on the clumpy side when I got those lashes, you know, kind of that back behind. And I don't mind just a little clumpy, but I don't want a lot of clumpy. So that's 2 coats and then a little coat on the back side just to make sure we covered that primer good. And somehow I've ended up with it all over me, as usual. But the big tell for me with mascara, my lashes are naturally kind of long. And they're, volume-wise, they're okay. I just have a problem with mascara flaking and smudging. Smudging is the worst for me. So now we'll move on to some cheeks. And I have had this L'Oreal Bronze Please in Terra for quite a while. This is a pretty big pan. It's about the same size as the Essence one that I used the other day. But I've enjoyed this. It's kind of a... It looks like it has a little bit of shimmer in it, but not a ton. And it's not too orangey. I don't like a bronzer with too much of that orange. You know, I don't mind a little bit of a red undertone or a cooler undertone. Which we may not need too much bronzing with that foundation shade. But I'm just going to go play outside, so if I look a little crazy, it'll be fine. My husband doesn't usually notice unless I'm looking real crazy. And the only complaint I have about this bronzer is that it does tend to get a little bit of hard pan sometimes. But it's so huge. I'm just going to take my clean side of my sponge and just press around those edges so everything looks nice and blended. And then for blush, I picked up this L'Oreal Visible Lift Radiance Cheek Duo. So it's got a blush and a highlight. I picked up the shade. Oh, well, apparently there's a little brush in there. Because I was wondering why this packaging was so clunky. But underneath here you get a mirror and a little brush. But it's got a, like I said, a blush and a highlight. And I got the shade, I think it's Romantic in Rose. I'm not going to use this little guy. I'm going to use for the blush, the Angie Hot and Flashy set came with a angled blush brush, which I like an angled blush brush. And I don't think I've ever used, ooh, that looks like it's got a lot of pigment. Just tap it off on my hand a little bit so we don't get too blushy. But y'all know I like a little blush anyway, so. They had a couple of different types of blush, but I thought I like a rosy. A nice rosy cheek. I think that's pretty. Yeah. I guess they call it a radiance duo because the blush looks like it might have just a little bit of sparkle to it, but I'm not really seeing that on the cheeks. Clean off my highlighter brush and we'll try this highlighter, which I don't think anything will ever compare to the Essence Pure Nude at this point. And I've got, just my little highlighter brush, and I'm just going to dip in just to that highlighter portion. A little powdery. But I think if you wanted, just a radiant blush in general, you could just swirl your brush in everything. It's not giving me a ton. It almost looks like it's got a little bit of a glittery look to it, which is not generally my favorite. But it doesn't look terrible. That looks pretty good. That's no Essence Pure Nude, mind you, but and we'll do some lips. And I actually picked up a couple of different lip products because I couldn't decide and they had a coupon, so why not? So I have this, shoot, I can't remember what this is called. It's similar to the Lancome. It's supposed to be like I think more of like a glossy lip stain. And I got the color Be Outstanding. And then I also picked up one of the color Riche Shine. And I was looking for a little brownie nude, number 902, Dazzling Dough, which looks a little bit browner than I expected. And then I did pick up a lip liner. I think this is it's just a L'Oreal Paris Color Riche Matte, and it's number 110, Matte's It. So I'm going to go ahead and line my lips with this. Yeah, that's a little more of a brownie nude, which is kind of what I was looking for fall. You know, I think I might want to try this glossy lip stain. Let's look at the color. If I can find somewhere. As I've heard good things about these. It's kind of that mauve-y, kind of my shade. Let's give it a try. Because these are supposed to be comfortable and long lasting, and it's got that kind of pointed doe foot. So if you didn't need a lip liner, you could probably get away without it, but everything feathers and my lips are just not as defined as they used to be, so I prefer a lip liner. Let's see what she looks like. Got a little bit of a sweet smell. It's a little bit deep, but I was actually looking for something a little bit deeper, you know, for fall. It feels comfortable. See how it feels when it dries down. And I know the lip liner did. You can see this is the color without a lip liner, and then with the lip liner it's a little bit deeper. But I think I like it. On it, actually, I was trying to wipe that off with a wet wipe, and you can see where it kind of stained my hand a little bit there, so hopefully that bodes well for the wear time. But that is our full face of L'Oreal. Oh, and speaking of lips, I did pick up some of the City Beauty, what do they call it? They're City Lips, the plumping lip gloss. I just picked up, they had a buy one get one free, so I picked up two. It was just on the clear, so I picked up a couple of the clear ones, and I've been using it just as a treatment to see, and I did take some before pictures just to see, you know, a lot of people say it helps to smooth the lip lines, and so I thought I would give it a try and we would see, you know, I'll update you guys in a month or whenever I notice a difference, you know, as to how, if it actually works well for that. Yeah, this feels like it's dried down, this lip, but it's still got that glossy shine. I like it so far. But I'm going to take y'all outside and we'll take a look at everything. And then, like I said, if I can't come back and update y'all today because I'm going to go outside and play, I'll update the description box, or, you know, maybe in my monthly favorites, because I do plan to do one for October. I'll update you guys on how everything wore. But so let's go out here in natural light. And I did go check the mirror before I stepped out here, and this foundation actually looks really pretty. The eyeshadow looks good. The mascara, you know, is fine right now, but I'm really liking the way this lip turned out. The blush is pretty. I'm going to try to step out here in the direct sunlight and try not to squint because it is super bright. But this is how everything looks in bright sun, because, you know, that's always a little different than, you know, up under the shade of the porch here. But like I said, I'll update you guys when I can. And I think actually the shade of that foundation is probably going to be okay. I think it blended pretty well, but I'm pleased with how everything turned out. Now the brows, it feels like they've got a little bit of hold, but I don't know that it's going to hold. Some of mine tend to want to flop down. I don't know if it will hold super well throughout the day, but I'll let you guys know. I'm gonna say bye before I drop this phone out here, but thanks so much for watching. Thanks again for all your sweet comments that y'all leave, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, y'all.